History of Japan, Ancient and Classical Period. Japan is located in East Asia, and Tokyo is the capital of the country as it is one of the largest cities of Japan. According to the Chinese records, there held various battles between the small cities of Japan, and finally, the war concluded and a famous queen ruled the country for several years. Though Japan is an old country, the writers started recording the history during the 6th century, and that too when the Chinese and Korean people trained them regarding the Chinese writing. The neighbor countries also taught them Buddhism, but Japanese modified it and brought in several new opinions like Zen, which is very popular in Japanese region as compared to the other countries. Japanese culture. During the ancient era, China helped Japan in many ways by providing them with diverse cultural topics and knowledge. However, their friendship did not last long, as the Mongolian residing in China tried attacking Japan but failed to do so. In the 16th century, Japan maintained a positive relationship with the Europeans, especially the Portuguese, as they were the first comer in Japan. After some time, the countries including Spanish, Dutch, and English arrived the country and introduced Christianity to the people residing there. Another reason for visiting Japan was that they had a desire to merchandise in the same. The leaders of Japan let the Europeans trade and visit Japan, but later they refused their arrival. Since Europe had won diverse battles and ruled several countries, Japan never wanted to get conquered by them. So this was the major reason why Japanese prohibited the entry of Europeans except for Nagasaki. At this time, a large number of Christian populations were murdered, and only Korean, Dutch, and Chinese had the permit to visit the country. Japan was reopened in 1854 to make a deal with America. The Seclusion Period. This deal with Americans and Europeans helped Japan in many ways. It not only brought in a new culture, but also developed the country and made it strong and powerful. Japan reached a great height and attacked Taiwan and Korea. Japan got associated with Nazi Germany and Italy and invaded China and Russia. It also took part in World War II. Japan also invaded Hawaii, a water base of America, and pulverized various ships and aircrafts. Unfortunately, America replied this invasion very seriously and attacked Japan. The two countries had a horrible fight with each other in the Pacific. Since America was one of the leading countries in respect with the army forces and the war equipment, it attacked Japan by bombing on several cities of the country. Japan had almost lost it, but the official defeat was announced when America molted the two hazardous atomic bombs on the land of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This created the Second World War and killed 150,000 people residing in Japan. Moreover, the Soviet Union also invaded Japan and killed thousands of people living in Manchuria. This was the biggest defeat of Japan, which compelled it to give up and leave all the countries it conquered. The United States annexed Japan and wrote a new constitution for the country, which clearly stated that Japan would no more attack America. Prehistory of Japan. Prehistory is the record that is prepared before writing the main history of Japan. Archaeologists have observed diverse pottery and tools of an ancient era. These stones are probably of 30,000 years ago and are kept as a memorial in the Museum of Tokyo. It specifies the important periods and the rulers of that time. These periods are Jomon Period, 10,000 to 300 BCE, Yayoi Period, 300 BCE to 250 CE, Kofun Period, 250 to 538, Asuka Period, 538 to 710, Nara Period, 710 to 794. Heian Period, 794 to 1185. Kamakura Period, 1185 to 1333. Muromachi Period, 1333 to 1573. Azuchi Momoyama Period, 1568 to 1603. Edo Period, 1603 to 1868. Meiji Period, 1868 to 1912. Taisho Period, 1912 to 1989. Showa Period, 1926 to 1989. Heisei Period, 1989 to present. These periods are taken from the historical records of Japan from 10,000 BCE to present. Jomon Period. The Jomon Period was introduced in 10,000 BC and concluded in 300 or 400 BCE. The translation of Jomon in English is cord-patterned. During this period, the Mesolithic culture was adapted by a large number of Japanese. Generally, there are three cultures, that is, Paleolithic culture, Mesolithic culture, and Neolithic culture. Mesolithic culture supports human development and was mostly considered as the period between the other two cultures. Some records also state that the Neolithic culture came into existence from Jomon period only. In Jomon period, pottery was discovered by Japanese, and the country is often termed as the topmost country to bring pottery work. However, some savant and scientists do not believe the same. The pottery work of Jomon period includes clay figures and the vessels of wonderful shapes and structure. Yayoi Period. The Yayoi period covers the time between 300 BC to 300 AD. The period lasts long for around 550 years, and the name of the period was derived from a famous spot situated in Tokyo. Yayoi period is mainly popular for the invention of the iron and bronze in Japan, which was used for creating weapons, equipment, tools, daggers, mirrors, and much more. Axes and hoes are the most famous implements of this era. According to the Chinese records, Japan was commonly termed as Yamatai region, which was ruled by Himiko Queen. During the Yayoi period, the generation and cultivation of rice were taught to the Japanese people. Yamato Period. This is the ancient and classical period of Japan which started from the 3rd century and ended in 710. Yamato period is further classified in two periods that are: number 1, Kofun period. The Kofun period was started in the 3rd century and was active until the 6th century. During this era, Buddhist religion was not introduced to Japan. Number 2, Asuka Period. It is commonly known as Suikosho Jidai and remained from 538 till 710. The name Asuka was formed based on the Asuka city located at a distance of 25 kilometers from Nara. During the Yamato period, people of Japan experienced several modifications. One of the most popular changes was the introduction of Chinese writing style among the Japanese people. At this time, Japan maintained a positive relationship with Korea and China. Nara Period. During the Nara period, the capital of Japan was Chang'an, and the city was governed by the Tang dynasty. But due to some reasons, it was decided to transform the capital to Nara. The period started from 707, in which certain measures were taken to construct a new capital which would look like Chinese capital city. The project of construction was concluded in 710. However, the ruler's family fellows were busy in dispute with the Buddhists and other people, as they desired to have powers. In this period, there were two changes made in respect to the capital transformation. At first, the capital was Nagaoka, which lasted till 784, but during 794, it again got shifted to Kyoto. Heian Period. The Heian period was named after the city known as Heian-kyo. Kyoto is the present name of the city, and the era lasted from 794 to 1185. The period began when the capital of Japan, that is Nagaoka, was transferred to Kyoto. In this period, poetry played a vital role in the lives of Japanese, and the first novel written by a woman was released. In 804, the Tendai Buddhist sect and Shingon Buddhist sect was developed by Dengyo Daishi and Kukai. Feudal Japan. The period from 12th century till 19th century is commonly considered the feudal period and was regulated by the powerful emperors. Feudal Japan comprises of various periods, which include Kamakura period. The Kamakura period began from 1185, and the name Kamakura is based on the Kamakura city, which was ruled by shoguns. The period ended after the devastation of the shogunate empire in 1333. Apart from Shingon and Tendai sects, Japan established several Buddhism sects including Honen, Shinran, Ippen, Dogen, Eisai, and Nichiren. The Battle of Bunei and the Battle of Koan are the major features of this period. Muromachi Period. The period started in 1336, in which Go-Daigo was no more considered to be the Emperor of Japan and was thrown out of the post. Ashikaga Yoshiaki conquered most of the cities in the starting of this era, but was compelled to leave the capital city Kyoto in 1573. Azuchi Momoyama Period. Azuchi Momoyama is the period of war between Japan and China. The period began in 1568 when Japan became developed to a great extent and announced a war against China. However, they could not win and conquer China, as it was governed by a great leader named Toyotomi Hideyoshi. After his death, Japan again invaded Korea and China. Japan also called several Koreans to seek education regarding the different forms of pottery. Edo Period. It is an essential period of Japan as it contributes to the growth of the country. During this time, the people were divided into groups in which each group had 5 members. If any person is blamed for fault, the complete group was punished. Moreover, the trade and business grew in this time. Meiji Restoration. In this period, the Meiji government got the complete powers to rule Japan again. The feudal system was concluded here, and the government-related terms and policies of the country were modified. Japan battles with Russia and China. After the completion of the 19th century, Japan craved to grow its country in terms of the geographical regions. It wanted to conquer the nearby countries including China and Russia. This desire of Japan resulted in a huge battle against China and Russia. Though Japan won the battles and gained the title of a powerful country, the Chinese and Russian alliance enhanced. Japan and Britain were highly dependent on China as they received economic advantages from the country. This was the reason why both countries were unsatisfied with the increased alliance of China and Russia. After some time, the war held between Japan and Russia, resulting in the victory of the former. During 1910, Korea was completely conquered by the Japanese and became a part of the same country. Occupied Japan. The World War II completed, but Japan surrendered due to the loss of thousands of people and a lot of properties. This defeat of Japan created a great impact on the Japanese, as they were now under the control of US. However, After some time, Japan and US maintained a friendly relationship and attacked Korea. During 1951, a contract was signed between Japan and other 45 countries, including the United States. This agreement stated that the political, economic, and government powers were modified and given back to Japan. So, as a result, Japan became an independent country with complete control of Japan's government. In 1952, several political parties and government participated in the election and followed the democratic system. The Second World War left Japan in worse state that it not only lost its technology, but its economy got affected to a great extent. The United States and the European countries helped Japan by providing sufficient technology and equipment for its development. Though the country faced many challenges and hindrances, it overcomes and managed to become the economically powerful country. In 30 years, it developed its business, politics, and much more. During the UN and Korea War, Japan assisted the countries by providing the goods and tools needed and hence achieve a great height in economic terms. This helped Japan to occupy the position of the second largest economy in the world. However, this victory of Japan created trade deficit, a state when the imports are more than exports in the USA, and after 1990, it started losing its power as the historians mentioned that there were about thousands of people in Japan who were unemployed. Japan developed and grew steadily after 1989. At the same time, it experienced many problems like an earthquake in 1995 and tsunami in 2004, but it overcame and became a strong country.